Life goes up and it goes down. I know my mom taught me that.
Hello and welcome to Rollercoasting with me, your host Megano, and NADINE! Yay! This is crazy. I'm not alone for the first time in the studio.
I'm your first guest.
You're my first guest.
Wow.
You should be honoured.
I should be honoured.
And it is simply none other than not even my best friend, just my absolute soul sister.
Here we are together.
United.
Do you know what? We'd fit in nowhere else.
It just felt right to have my bestest friend in the whole wide world on. And this will maybe encourage me to have guests on. This is my wee guinea pig.
Yeah.
You're much more than just a guinea pig to me,
Thank
Nadine. But Nadine, I feel like you will all know her now because she's in absolutely everything that I do. People do think we're sisters.
Yeah, that's because of our last name.
It's because, and do you want to tell them why that is?
Like the one letter difference?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's a huge story, guys, but I'm Welsh and she's Welsh. So naturally people get confused.
Like,
remember someone came up to you and said, "Are you Megan Walsh?"
Yeah.
And I was like...
And we got it all the time in school. It would be Nadine Welsh, Megan Walsh. Oh my God.
Like cousins, sisters.
Yeah.
But no, we're just friends.
We're not sisters by blood, but we're sisters by choice.
Sure are.
So it just feels right to have Nadine on. You know, I feel like recently as well, because I've posted so much, you know, it's been years now and I've posted so much of Nadine, I feel like it just makes sense to have you on and do a funny episode. A funny but also
Informative.
It is, after all, this is rollercoasting we're on.
Yeah.
And what do roller coasters do?
They go up and down.
They go up and down and they go all around.
I think as well before, like, when you started YouTube and stuff, I think, like, I was like sometimes in the background.
Yeah.
Vlogs, but I was like, this is the most terrifying thing ever.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, oh yeah, like, okay, you can do it. And I would be so scared. So I think now I'm finally ready.
Yes. It's only took the 6 years, but we got it. But it's true, like, it's like anything, like, anyone I ask to be in my content, that is a huge ask. Like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, I think now, like, even when we go on holiday and you're like, oh, like, should I vlog on holiday? I'm like, yeah, like, because I love looking back. Like, those are, like, memories.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it. Obviously, like, I love to help as well, but, like, we can just look back on holidays.
Like, one day when we have little kiddie winks, which will be very far in the future.
For sure.
Because Nadine has a real fear. You think I'm scared of getting older? Wait till you meet Nadine. But one day in the far future, we can just sit back and look at your mum and auntie Nadine.
Yeah.
Look how cool we were, how funny we were.
Yeah, I love it.
Look at all the shit we've done.
Yeah.
We've got it all on video. So now it does feel like the time is right. I mean, she's been in a bloody TV show with me, so the podcast is
a breeze.
Yeah, easy peasy now. It's crazy.
That actually was just so random. I got roped into that. Literally would just like come to something like when you were setting up for your podcast, actually your first show, I was like, I'll just come and help set up, and you're like, no problem. And I got there and they were like, right, let's make you up. And I was like, oh okay, like, okay, brilliant. But do you know what, that was actually so fun, and again, like, so funny that we can look back on that.
And also on the topic of that particular filming, my first ever live podcast, by the end, naturally me and Nadine were a little bit drunk and crunk because, you know, we'd been drinking all day, spirits were high, we're having a lot of fun, and we filmed this scene, and the next day we were like, what the fuck did we even say? Like, we were literally steaming on the BBC. Don't know if they know that.
Yeah, I just remember them being like, you come this way, and then we were like, oh no, I was just telling you like how proud I was, and I was just going on, and then the next day we were like, my God, were we being really, really cringy, like just telling each other?
Because one thing about us when we have a drink, oh gosh, whoever...
Why find us in the corner of a room after like 13 years of friendship? Are we telling each other how much we mean to each other? Like, it's just ridiculous.
We have, and that was a key point now, we have been friends for 13 years.
Is it 13?
Well, we met when we were 13, and we're 26.
Yeah.
13 exactly.
It's got the big number 14 next year.
Yeah, woo! Coming around fast, 14th year anniversary. But we have been friends for 13 years. It's an absolute lifetime, and we will get into that. But one thing about me and Nadine when we've had a drink is Oh, it's just
Yep,
so...
yep, yep,
I mean,
yep,
it's
yep.
nice because people are out causing violence and all we're doing is having words of affirmation.
Yeah.
But it is also embarrassing
Absolutely.
because it's not even just between us, it's to randoms.
Yeah, it's like telling random people, like on the to-do list is tell each other, then spread the word. And it's like, why? Nobody actually cares. Nobody cares.
I'm like, that over there, she's my best friend. I'm like, she's not even just my best friend, she's my sister.
Yeah.
Not real sister, contrary to her
Sounds
second
like,
names.
Nice.
They're like-
I'm so happy for you guys.
Probably like, oh my God, let us be over. But that's just, you know what? That's just how we
Yeah.
are. That's who we are and it's what we
Yeah,
are.
let's not apologise.
No, we're be unapologetically ourselves.
For sure.
So on today's episode, as I said, life is a roller coaster and so are friendships. So I thought we could talk about like the funny times of friendships, maybe the more, not difficult, I wouldn't say our friendship's ever been particularly difficult, but the challenges friendships can face, and just everything in between.
Yeah.
And I'll finish off with some questions. We've got some questions from my roller coaster riders. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Love. But without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Woo.
So, chronological order is how I like to do things in. Organised queen. So let's take it back to the beginning.
Okay.
Earliest memories together. I'll tell you my earliest memory of you.
No, this one's...
I don't know if this is the absolute earliest. It could be wrong, but my first memory of Nadine is we met through, at the time, a mutual friend. And Nadine, at the time, you went to an all-girls school. That's so random.
Yeah, I do think there's been points in my life where I'm like, did that happen? Like, that is just so random.
That was like a fever dream. You went for 1 year of high school.
1 year for high school. Yeah, my mum told me to go there. So eventually she said, right, you can go back with your friends to Lourdes. And I said, thanks, Mum, that was a real waste of time. Do you know what? The people that I met there were nice, but they just, I wanted to be with my OG friends.
And we had never, so me and Nadine we didn't go to the same primary school, so she wasn't talking about me, the OG.
No.
But we met through one of her OGs.
Yep.
And who I met in high school. So we met this one night, and I knew you were going to be coming to my school in the second year.
Right.
We met this one night, and we went to the shops, went to the co-op.
Right.
And everyone bought a snack, so I probably bought a packet of Maltesers. Nadine bought a full apple pie and ate the full thing. We're literally like 13. She bought a full apple pie, and she was like, do you have forks? Like to the co-op so that you can go and eat an apple pie. And that night I just remember thinking, like, before I met Nadine, I was quite shy.
Right.
Hard to believe, I know. But I had a bit of a rocky primary school experience, and then this was me just in first year, and I was just finding my feet with all these new people. And I met Nadine that night, and while she tucked in her family-sized apple pie, and you were just so funny and like so like sure of yourself, I thought, I want to be more like Nadine. And I actually mean,
oh, that's so nice.
I do mean that. I feel like you made me more confident. And I mean, soon followed some troubled times at school because we didn't shut up from there.
Yes.
But that is another early memory.
Yes.
And favourite memories.
Yeah, those were, school for us was just so funny. It was the apple pie story I was going to say. So I wasn't really going to bring it up. But yeah, everyone knows now. It's so weird. So weird. And I'm actually lactose intolerant, so that probably was the catalyst of all my problems.
The family is highest apple pie.
So strange. Anyways, hopefully moving on.
But school for us, so I did have like a shit primary school experience, but I mean I was so young I can hardly remember it. But high school, like people normally struggle with high school experiences, and it is tough out there.
Yeah.
High school is not to be reckoned
People are
with.
mean.
People are very mean. But we had a great high school experience.
Yeah, I feel like we really, really did.
I feel like all we done was laugh.
We really did, and I think we very early on just bounced off each other.
Yeah, like our favourite thing to do, and honestly now if I could go back and see us, I would probably cringe so much and be like, they are an absolute nuisance. But like whenever we were in classes together, like we just loved to wind up the teachers.
I know, and do you know what? That is actually so annoying.
I know, because we're at an age now where we could be secondary school teachers.
Yeah.
So imagine us going to work every day, as some of our friends do, and there's these two girls who just want to cause havoc, essentially.
And do you know what? We weren't like rude or cheeky.
No, we
were
never
just
boisterous.
so giggly. That's what it was. It was just always like, you know, the famous thing people say, like when you're not allowed to laugh, you just find everything funnier. Well, we find everything funny anyway, so Ad's not allowed to speak or talk, and like we just look at each other and be like, I mean, this is going off topic, but see recently.
Are you going to tell the fly story?
Oh no, I wasn't going to. But we can. Recently, we were at a charity event, like volunteering, and it hadn't started yet. And we're getting a brief, right? And this is, now let me please be honest and say this isn't okay, right? But I don't know what gets into us. And basically, they were doing a brief, but we couldn't really hear them because someone was doing mic testing, and he was going 1, 2, 1, 2. And I don't know why, we just couldn't stop laughing. And then I was like trying to move away from Megan, because I was like, actually get away from me, because I just can't even be around you right now without laughing. And she's looking at me going...
It's like that way where like there must be some sort of vibrations that you're sending my way, because categorically nothing's funny.
That's not funny.
And I'm looking around the room. We're probably some of the oldest volunteers.
Yeah.
All the teenagers, no one's laughing at me and her like...
So stupid.
And I'm like pointing at the guy on stage like, no one else find this funny, and everyone's like it's a guy doing a mic test, and we're like literally having to separate ourselves and not look at each other.
I know.
Bite my gums so I don't laugh.
It's just so silly. The other day, obviously, we went to Charlie XCX, and I was saying to Callum, my boyfriend,
confusing both our boyfriends are called Callum.
Yeah, the same name. Basically, I was saying to him like, oh, we didn't drink, like we just had an energy juice and a poke of chips, and he was like, oh, did you not? And I was like, no. I was like, it was just the best night ever. It was so fun, so funny. She's amazing. He was like, but you just find everything funny, don't you? And I was like, no, but this particular night it was just so good. And he was like, yeah, you just find everything funny, so obviously you like...
On the topic of Callum, like Nadine's Callum, he's very like... He is like opposite to us, but we just gel so well. Mm-hmm. And we were in Ibiza at the start of summer, and me, Nadine and Callum went out for lunch, and... we're just sitting having our lunch, and this fly flies over and lands on the table, and me and Nadine are like, oh no, a fly, we're all scared at first, and then it lands, and it's like peaceful, it's, you know, it's sat down, it's not causing...
It's joined us at the table.
It's not eating our lunch, you know, it's just sitting merely as a fourth guest. And then we looked at it and we were like, oh, it's shiny, like look, its back's like all glittery, and we were talking and we're like, hello, Mr. Fly, and Callum was just sitting there and he was like, what the fuck? He was like, first of all, these are like, ooh, we're so scared of the fly. And then we're like, hello, Mr. Fly. And we were just like wetting ourselves, then the fly flew away. And we were like, oh, bye, Mr. Fly. And he was like, that's not funny.
Yeah, and I think we, like, our conversations, to have an outsider listen into them, it maybe puts into perspective that they're not funny.
Because another thing we do is this accent. And the problem is an accent between the two of us, and it makes sense. But if anyone overheard, they're going to think weird. But now the problem is we do it so much between each other that we've started doing it to outsiders. So the accent goes a little bit like, hello, darling.
Hello, darling.
How was your day
It's
today?
like posh English tea party, RP, the Queen. That is like the vibe. We actually did it at that charity event, just like said one thing to each other, and I did it, and my little sister was there, and she was like, what was that accent? And I was like, oh my God,
it's happening.
It's happening, I've done it in public.
But going back to school,
okay,
one of my favourite, like this is what I mean, we were innocent having fun.
Yeah.
But Nadine you'd been in IT or something,
right,
and I'd been in another class, and now we're in English, and we had that English teacher who just never ever warmed to us. No, the one from Abu Dhabi. She never ever warmed to us. We even thought Abu Dhabi was funny. Like that's not. We just thought I'd never heard of Abu Dhabi up until that point, and I thought that is a funny word to say.
Yeah.
There's nothing funny about Abu Dhabi. I'm sure it's a lovely place. I've seen great adverts.
Yeah,
Abu
I've
Dhabi.
actually seen what it looks like, and it looks unreal.
This Visit Abu Dhabi advert.
Yeah,
always
I've seen
comes on.
that.
It
I've
looks
seen that.
fantastic.
I know. It's just when this teacher was so serious.
Yeah.
And she just said it one day, and I was like, I just did not see that for you.
Yeah, I was like, I did not know you.
But
lived in
anyway,
Abu Dhabi.
actually, you're probably like this.
So anyway, we were in her class and she wasn't the biggest fan of us anyway. And Nadine had been in IT and you were doing some sort of like digital editing. Because back then, that wasn't a huge thing like it is now. So you had made your hamster look like Harry Potter. So she's like, got her BlackBerry out. You got your BlackBerry out, and I think it was just a new BlackBerry at the time, so you weren't familiar with what button was the unlock. So she tried to press the unlock button to show me Hammy Stare as Harry Potter, but you pressed play, and the song that came on was Nicki Minaj Starships. In a dead silent English class, it was like, Starships, and we're higher than a motherfucker. Do, 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 do.
Oh my God.
So I'm wetting myself. The teacher's like, Nadine, get out. So you get sent out, and I just can't control my laughter. So then I get sent out, and then we're just out in the corridor giggling. That's as bad as we were.
Yeah, I think that one was pretty bad. And that actually wasn't our fault.
No.
I actually forgot I made my hamster with Harry Potter. Oh, that's so weird. It's probably something we would still do now, to be fair. I'm like, yeah, that's so immature.
Meanwhile, tonight on Canva. But that is just as far as it went, and that is what our friendship has always been. It's like we just love to laugh.
Yeah, we do.
Like we'll always find like funny in any situation. This year has faced us with some situations.
Yes, more you than I.
Yes,
but do you know what? I think like we like have taken I think you definitely have more bad luck, but like we have obviously taken turns in like bad times.
Yeah, of course.
But something that we always say is like, I just can't wait to laugh.
Yeah.
Like, see if we're going on holiday, like we're always like, oh, I just can't wait to laugh.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah. And like another example, and I'm not saying what it was because that's probably something I'll never tackle, but something really bad happened this year, and like we're literally on our way to the police station, and I'm crying my eyes out, and Nadine just made a joke, and I actually stopped crying and started laughing.
Yeah.
Even on my way to the literal police station, we made light of the situation.
You just need to. And I think as well, like, we have a very, like, sarcastic, dry sense of humour sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think, like, oh, do you know what? When you're going through bad times, you just need to make your friend laugh.
Exactly. And the bad time's going to be there anyway. So whether you laugh or cry about it, you know what one's going to be more funny.
Yeah.
So that's how we deal with things.
Yeah.
So let's talk about going back to us being friends for 13 years.
Okay.
Sustaining a friendship. Because that isn't actually easy. Like,
No.
It requires effort, it requires time. Mm-hmm. And obviously life just lifes at some point. Life is lifing.
Absolutely.
And, you know, hurdles will come in the way. And we've certainly had our fair share of hurdles.
Yeah. I think if you actually, even though we've been friends for 13 years, like, and we've been best friends for, like, majority of that, I think, like, the kind of friendship that we have now is, like, so different to what it was when we were a wee bit younger.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was actually saying this to my wee sister, like, when telling my wee sister how much we're friends.
Usual.
There's another example. I wasn't drunk this time. I think, like, our friendship now, we've gone through so many different parts of life.
Yeah.
And we've not even been through all of the
We've not
parts
even
of-
scratched the surface,
No,
really.
but, like, I think our friendship now is just so, like, I don't know the word. It's just, like...
It's like...
It's not just... I know we're not going to go into a big spiel, but it's not just, like, your best friend who, like... It's just, like, I know that I literally know you inside out because
Yeah.
I've been friends with you for so long.
Yeah.
And I just know, like, that I can depend on you for anything.
Yeah.
Like, I think obviously you know that you can depend on your friends.
Yeah, of course.
But I think, like, I just know, like, for example, we'll be old together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but it's just a feeling, and when you know, you know.
When you know, you know.
But we have, of course, run into issues. Nadine got up and fucked off to Hong Kong for 6 months at one point. Was
Yeah.
it 6 months?
Yeah, it was 6 months.
And that at that point, no, our friendship was different. We were really young. This was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
We were very young, and we weren't as close as we are at this moment in time, but we were best friends.
Yeah, I think we were best friends, but again, like, it was a very different time in life.
Yes.
Like, we'd kind of just left school. I think we were like, we had other people that we were like really, really close to as well. Like, maybe we spent a wee bit more time with them.
Yeah.
And I think actually me moving there
Brought us closer.
it brought us closer.
Which was
weirdly.
weird.
Yeah, that was right. It was like, you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Literally. And as well, I know another reason, and that's something that I'm sure people can relate to. We weren't as close when you jetted off to Hong Kong because I was too caught up with that boy at the time.
Yes, you had
A male interest.
yeah. Was it exclusively say a boyfriend, was it?
No, when he felt like. Sometimes I was his girlfriend, majority of the time I wasn't, so I could do as he pleased, shall we say. But this is no one you know of, so don't try and pin a name to this guy. He's going to always remain unnamed.
Yeah.
But at that point, and that's something that every friendship goes through, like when you first get a new boyfriend or whatever he was,
Yeah.
like you're obsessed with them, you're infatuated with them, and
Yeah.
I know wholeheartedly, like I stopped going out at the weekends, I stopped making effort with my friends because I was just like
He's the best
fixated.
thing ever.
Yeah, which he was definitely not.
Yeah, he wasn't.
No, just yeah.
But obviously, like, your first boyfriend, your first like person that's showing you attention, like, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
And, like, if you just like someone, like, you just, maybe when you're younger, obviously people still do it now, but like, you just get so excited and caught up.
Yeah, and that's such like a common thing that happens like all the time. Like even now, like, you know, like our friends or their friends, boyfriends, whatever, like it is so easily done.
Yeah.
And it's harmless, but it is hurtful to the friend.
Yeah.
So when you first moved to Hong Kong, that's what we were experiencing then, and I'm sure everyone can relate.
Yeah.
At some point in their lives. And then when Nadine lived in Hong Kong, that is when we actually got closer because I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, I miss her so much, and weirdly it made us make more effort.
Yeah.
And even like I remember there was a time when you lived there, something happened with a boy again, and
With mine.
no.
Oh, with you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, sorry. There probably was stuff happening with yours too. 'Cause
Oh, there was.
God. Wow. We'll get on to that. But even then, literally the other sides of the world, you couldn't actually comfort me as in give me a hug because, you know, your arms aren't that long.
No.
But you were
They're
there
not.
on the phone and you spoke to me, and then at that moment I realised no matter how far away we are,
Oh, that's nice.
this is going to work.
Yeah, I think this is going to work. And I was coming home, so...
Yeah, thank God you did return.
Yeah, we actually have... It's a loose pact,
Yeah.
but it's a pact nor less. No,
It's- yeah.
what's that saying?
Nonetheless.
Nonetheless,
Yeah.
nor less. That we both have to live in the same country.
Yeah. And when I started going out with Callum, who lives in Manchester, Nadine genuinely proposed that I sign a written contract saying I won't move.
Well, that sounds pretty serious, but it was half joking and half being like we could maybe write it in our notes or something. Wasn't going to get anything printed off.
Yeah.
It's just super worrying. I think like we're pure jumping about, but
It's fine. That's what roller coasters
right,
do.
okay, that's allowed here. I think like obviously I'd done it, but we weren't where we are now, and I think we get to experience so much of life together.
Yeah.
And like go on holidays and like all these things, and it's just so important. But we can get
we can get to that.
Yeah.
But genuinely, if you move country, I'd probably die.
soon.
So don't,
I'm staying.
because you'll need to buy plane tickets home for my funeral, and that would be on you. So don't. But yeah, sustaining a friendship. So times like that, distance, you need to make the effort. You need to,
Yeah.
you know, message, phone call, whatever it may be. Another part of sustaining a friendship is just generally life getting in the way. Like it can be like, you know, working different jobs that have like different shifts,
Yeah.
or even like I suppose with my job as well, like I've made a lot of like influencer friends because
Yeah.
we do the same job, you know, we have similar schedules, and I think that could be an area where it's like, you can't forget about your own friends, like your OG friends. And I think that is something that could be easily done.
Yeah.
And like you have a great work friend who I have now met.
Yeah.
And I love her, and I so understand why you're friends.
Yeah.
But like...
when I was like, these two people that I've met are very, very similar, as in obviously Megan and my friend from work. So at the weekend we did a nice introduction. Yep. And it all worked out.
And the ball got rolling. And I think that is something that loads of friendships like experience as well. Like you make new friends as you grow up, maybe in the workplace or and it is so important not to, because if you stop nourishing that friendship, it will disappear. And we've even got like that situations like that. Like I love people so much, and I don't want to fall out with them, but I wouldn't. But like our lives are so different that naturally
you just maybe aren't close.
Yeah, you're not in like
your
in
lives
sync.
aren't compatible.
Yeah, so it's keeping it in sync.
Yeah,
even though because oh my god, look, I've started wearing my Apple Watch. It looks like I have a tag. I am not in prison. I have not been prisoned.
What on earth?
Contrary to my story about going to the police, it was not because I committed a crime. I've been wearing it on my ankle because I don't like the look of it, but I want to go.
Oh my god, I should do that with my Garmin.
You should, but it's embarrassing when people see it because they probably think I have a legal tag on.
Yeah, it does. In fact, mine is like a pure Ben 10 watch.
Yours would definitely look like
a tag. Mine would look like a tag. So
and we're not here for committing crimes in this podcast.
No, we're not.
We're not. So yeah, there's that. It's trying to always make time for each other, and although your lives can be quite different, is trying to stay in the same lane.
Yeah, I think with like different friends, like when you've got common interests, when you want to do the same thing, like you have the same, not morals, but like have the same like outlook on things. And I think definitely like something that's true is people come into your life at different points for different reasons. Like if I think back to people that I used to spend time with, like when I was a bit younger, like I loved that time. Like people that I met in college or like work friends or anything, like I had such like amazing times with them. But maybe like right now our lives don't align, and that's okay.
Friends for a reason, friends for a season, friends for a lifetime. That's the 3 different categories you have. Another thing is that can get in the way of friendships, any friendship, and ours is not, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, not any different. Is sometimes you don't like your best friend's boyfriend. And that's
we've both been
in those.
Sorry.
Oh yes, I have also been.
Oh god,
we've both been in those positions throughout the last 13 years.
We've both experienced each side.
Yes. And that is a very, very, very hard one. It's so hard because you can, as a friend, force your opinions down someone, and if you do, like say you kept saying to me, for example, like I don't like your boyfriend, I don't think you should be together, blah blah blah, that could then cause us to drift, because I'd be like, well, if you're not going to support my boyfriend, then what the hell am I supposed to talk to you about? Like,
and I think as well, like there's kind of obviously different variations of it, but like I think when your friend is happy, right, from the outside, you're like, okay, I maybe don't glue with this person very well, but I kind of have to, because one thing about us is, and there's no specific time in our life of this, not identifying anyone, but I think like something that's really important to us is being friends with each other's boyfriends. And obviously my ex, you didn't like, categorically. No. Actually, he didn't like Megan, and that was the first red flag, actually. I think probably would have been. And I didn't listen. So you were vocal, and I didn't listen. And then now you're best friends with my boyfriend.
Exactly.
And it's like Megan comes over for Sunday dinner at Callum's house.
Yeah, Callum's family home. I literally had Easter dinner with everyone.
His mum literally bought her a gift.
And his aunties. But that is like, it's such a difficult one to navigate. Like, obviously there needs to be valid reason to not like your best friend's boyfriend. Like, you can't just be like, he's not my cup of tea. But like, I'd say there probably is a reason if your friend doesn't like your boyfriend.
And I think like if for example, if I wasn't a fan of someone that Megan was seeing or going out with, obviously you have to take it into consideration, like, am I being unfair? But then actually, if you're not really an unfair person, which I don't believe that I am,
No.
I just think it's hard to be honest, because you don't want to upset, like, ultimately I just want you to be happy and be happy for you. And then I think if there starts to show like some cracks, shall we say, in the relationship, and maybe like you maybe aren't as happy as like what it would seem, I think eventually you just have to put your
Band-Aid off. And we've had those awkward conversations. And do you know what? Like, as awkward as it is to tackle, and during it is like, God, this is a really hard conversation. You feel better afterwards. Yeah, you do. And you just have to go about it in a nice way. Like, don't come in as an attack. Yeah. It just needs to be an open and honest conversation in a safe space. And I think we'd had a couple of drinks. We were eating at McDonald's. And we were just chilling in bed. And that was the safe environment. The time was right. The time was right to be like, right, okay, here's the story. Balamori. But that is so important to us, and that's what we always say now, like, especially because I'm so close with your Callum. It is just, personally, for me, I need my boyfriend and best friend to get on, and not even just get on, actually have a relationship. We always say this as well, like, when it comes to our weddings, again, far in the future. Not anytime soon, before Nadine has a panic attack. I want my wedding, I want you to be like, I'm here to celebrate Megan and her husband. I love him so much as well. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm here for Megan and what's his face. Like, it needs to be a celebration. Of my two best friends. And that is just so important to us. Exactly. And I think, like, even though we've been friends for so long in life, we're going to still reach these points where we're like, oh, because like we were talking about this earlier, like I could talk to you about anything and I could be honest about anything, and like even if like one of us is like doing something, we'll be like the first one to be like, oh, like say, be honest. Like there's just no, my point is there's no worries with honesty. But we reached a point where we were like, oh, this is a wee bit foreign for us. And how do we tackle this? Like no matter how close you are, and we honestly don't get much closer, like I don't know how we'd get any closer, it's still hard to tackle. It's hard to navigate, like you don't want to hurt your friends' feelings, you want to be supportive, but you just like have maybe like a gut instinct. So and moving on to our latest and newest hurdle is it might be the hardest yet. I know, I feel bad. We're low-key long-distance besties now. Which is weird because I still live in Glasgow. And people are going to be like, what? Shut up. But basically, to put it into perspective, me and Nadine, for the past however many years, have pretty much seen each other every single day. Not like all day, every day, of course. Like Nadine goes to work, I do my work, like, but would like go to the gym together. Even just a snippet. It might be just an hour of the day. Or if Nadine stays at mine one night, you know, we're naturally together in the morning. We'd go a walk together. We'd see our group of friends. We'd go on nights out. So we did spend, I'd say 70%, 75% of the week together. That's fair. I think that's quite an accurate percentage. Like I said, I even go to her boyfriend's family home, so there's simply no boundaries. But now, obviously, Cam living in Manchester, I spend a lot of time in Manchester, and like if I go, I'm going for like 3 nights, 4 days, maybe and longer. If he comes here, obviously, like you're with him because you're spending time with him. And like maybe if he's here for a weekend, typically Nadine would stay at mine at the weekend, but I'm like, sorry, I only have the one bed. And it's quite a small bed at that. I was going to say we're not going to do 3 in the bed, and then I was like, that would be weird. No, we do have some boundaries. And that is one. So that's something that like, and probably when me and Callum first started going out, I considered it would be difficult for me and Callum because we're long distance, but I actually didn't think it would also be difficult for us, and it is.
It is.
It actually is difficult.
It is.
The other day I woke up, last week, sorry, I'd been in Manchester for work, and obviously I stayed at Calm's, and I woke up on the Thursday morning, was it? And we were supposed to do this podcast last week.
Oh, right, okay.
But
yeah.
I ended up being in Manchester for work, so we couldn't. And that we hadn't spent quality time together last week because you were so busy with your event.
Yeah.
I was busy doing whatever I was doing. And that was going to be our first wee bit of quality time together, and we were both really looking forward to it. And I woke up and I was like, shit, I've got the timings mixed up. I'm in Manchester, like we can't do it today. And the guilt that washed over me, honestly, it started in my head and it went to my toes. And I was just lying in Cal's bed and I was like, I am a shit friend. And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I fucked it. Like, I'm supposed to be with Nadine in an hour and I'm in Manchester, so that's physically impossible unless you've got a spare jetpack lying about. And he was like, oh no. He was like, Nadine's going to resent me because I'm taking you away from her. And I was like, oh, I feel so bad. And he was like, right, okay, well, you need to spend more time. I was like, I'm trying. And I texted and I was like, I'm so sorry. And honestly, I felt literally terrible.
Well, it's okay.
Okay.
You're forgiven.
Thanks.
No, I think, like, do you know what? It's not anybody's fault.
It's not.
It's just hard. People are probably listening thinking, get a grip.
Yeah, like literally. Cam also, before he said Nadine's going to resent me, he was like, did you not spend the full weekend together? I was like, that was 4 days ago. I'm like, for fuck's sake, have a bit of empathy.
The thing is, like, it's not permanent.
It's not, it's temporary.
It's not permanent. And yeah, I think we just have to put in, this is an example of putting in more effort when you are here.
Yeah. And it's hard, like, sometimes I'll feel like really like guilty over, like, even not because you make me feel guilty to put that out there. I'll feel guilty if I'm like going to Manchester or have Calm over and I'm like, oh God, like, I don't want you to think I'm putting him first, but I'm like, I need to see my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so fair that you have to schedule in your boyfriend. Obviously, I've got the luxury of living 10 minutes from mine, so
it's just, but that is a classic example of like our friendship is so strong and is so stuck in its ways, but like it'll never just be plain sailing because that's life.
No, exactly.
The boat gets rocked.
Exactly, and obviously, like, a couple of times you've referenced my fear of growing up.
Yeah.
But that actually stems from life getting so busy that maybe naturally, and that's so normal, you don't have as much time to spend with your friends because, for example, if you've got a husband and kids, we can't be fannying around every day. Like, that's just not, that's just not going to be happening. Like, when we talk about, like, when we're older and, like, have, like, an actual, like, house and and everything, we're like, so, well, we need to have a guest bedroom so that we can still have sleepovers. And it's just like, I just always think, when did we get to the age where like that isn't going to be as normal? Yeah, no, that's so true, and I feel you there. I get that. Do I need to relax? Yes. Do I need to be a wee bit? Like, I'll say to Nadine, like, oh, I'd maybe want to have a baby. Like, I mean, I don't know, just putting this out there. You know, I can't pick when the womb's ready or whatever. When you're impregnant. Yeah, like, there's a lot of steps involved in that process. And I've, like, maybe, like, 31, Nadine's like, that's 5 years away. And I'm like, oh, 5 years away. And she's like, so soon. Like, it's literally 5 years away. We could complete high school in that time. Like, it's not 5 months. I actually realised I was doing it, and I actually never wanted to seem like I wouldn't be happy for my friends. If, like, one of our best friends is getting married, and I, like, cried when, like, of sheer joy. Sorry. To clarify, I was happy. No, like, not another one. No, I was so happy for her. Yeah. And when I got asked to be a bridesmaid, like, I was literally crying and I was like, this is the best ever. So, like, in those moments, it's just the thought of it. I get it. I think for you, like, for me, for you, it's just like, oh, I never want this to stop. No, I know. And it won't. I know. It won't. And we're hopefully, you know, we're going to live our lives in sync. All going well, you know. I mean, the ideal situation would be children at the same time and neighbours. Exactly. Is that going to happen? Probably not, but Hey,
Aim for the stars and you'll land amongst the clouds.
is that the right saying?
No.
Right.
I said it once with such conviction.
Right, now you've... Well,
And now I
at least
know it's
that's,
not real, but I'm just going to keep
It
going
kind of
with
does make sense, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And clouds are fluffy and comfy looking.
exactly. I might start saying it.
Nice place to land.
Yeah.
Worst places to land.
This chair feels like a cloud.
It's great, isn't
Yeah.
it? I'd recommend these chairs to anyone. Amazon Prime. So that is the story of our friendship. Now,
Yeah.
that's a very condensed story of our friendship because it's been 13 years, if I've
Yeah.
not made that clear. But I feel like when people like say to me, like people always say like, oh, your friendship with Nadine, like that's so cute.
Oh,
like
that's so nice.
my mum and dad, for example, like literally worship the ground Nadine walks on.
Her mum always texts me, like, not even just hello. It's like, hello, daughter number 2. I'm like, hello, mum number 2.
Like, we're just like, how cute is this? Nadine's mum, when we were volunteering another week, the time we couldn't stop laughing, Nadine's mum was there because Nadine's mum does a lot with the charity, and she said to me, Nadine's mum was talking about a woman at the event, and she was like, she's one of these people when you spend time with her, you walk away and you feel really good about yourself. And I said, oh my God, that's so nice. And she went, a bit like you.
Aww.
She was like, like when you spend time with you walk away feeling good. And I was like, to hear that come from your best friend's mum,
I know, what a compliment.
that is absolutely stunning. And I hope people experience that because that feeling was stunning.
Well, do you mean like people experience it from you?
No, I hope people experience that from their best friend's mum.
Oh, well, I was going to say I do experience it from you.
Good, because your mum does, so I hope you do too. But yeah, when it comes to sustaining a friendship as good as this,
Yeah.
I mean, you could say there is a wee bit of luck there. Obviously, we met and our paths crossed and we were obviously
Yeah.
meant to be best friends. Like, I couldn't have this particular friendship with just any Tom, Dick and Harry.
No.
It had to be Miss Nadine Walsh, who was born in Hong Kong. So...
Is that like my like major? I feel like that's my tagline now from this podcast.
Like, obviously there is luck there involved, but if you're lucky enough to find that lucky shamrock, then nourish it, water it.
A shamrock?
What is a shamrock?
Like the Irish thing? Why would you be watering that? Do you mean like
It's
a
metaphorical.
flower? Like yeah, but metaphors have to make sense. Would it be like maybe like a plant? Like plant the seeds and nourish it and water it and there will
A
be...
clover, a 4-leaf clover.
Right. That's not a shamrock though.
Okay, so
is it? Is that a shamrock? Who am I looking to? Guys!
Anyone was a shamrock.
Anyway, this is a silly
What is
conversation.
a shamrock?
Yeah,
so-
you get the point.
You need to nourish it, and you need to, be there for the good, bad, and the ugly. Mm-hmm. And if you're ever on your way to a police station, make a joke.
Yeah, make a joke.
And that's our advice. But now we're going to move on to some questions
Ooh.
from my lovely rollercoaster riders.
Wow.
Thank you so much. These are just on my normal phone. So we've gave McGano's mailbox a day off today. So
Yeah.
you enjoy.
Requested a holiday.
Yeah, she just took some annual leave. Right, so let's hop on over, shall we? Oh, that's nice. Someone said I met Nadine at a lot on your plate Christmas market. She's so lovely.
Oh, that's so nice.
She's all right. This goes back to a previous episode. How does Nadine now feel about you getting ill in Thailand? Because not only, by the way, and I feel like I didn't give Nadine enough credit in that first episode, not only was I obviously dying, Nadine was my nurse. Like, see if it wasn't for Nadine, I'd be in Thailand right now. Probably dead. Like, you literally, she carried my case the whole time. She would pat me down with wet paper towels. You'd be on top of my medicine. You'd be going and buying me ice poles that did later make me vomit down that fancy hotel's walls, but the fault was definitely there. Like, she really did do the most, and I feel like, sorry, I didn't give you enough credit.
It's okay. Kid on. No, do you know what? I think to even relive that for you, and even the girls and me like helping, that probably just wasn't even at the forefront of your memory because you were so traumatically traumatised.
Yeah.
How do I feel now about it? Do you know, I don't really know. It's just the whole thing for me is a bit of a blur. Obviously I was so worried, but at the same time I was like, ugh.
Yeah, we didn't think it was severe.
I'll be honest, right, I didn't think it was what it was. I don't think we all did.
No.
Obviously Megan felt the way that she felt, but one thing about Megan was like me getting her to Thailand
Uh-huh.
was big, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want, like, I would love to just take you to loads of random
Yeah,
places
you
in the
would.
world and, like, experience. And I genuinely was like, when you said you were coming, I was like, this is the best news ever. Like, we get to go and, like, because I love doing stuff like that. So obviously we get her there and she's super out of her comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
But when I say, like, I had us climbing up waterfalls.
Sorry, climbing up literally climbing up a waterfall. Not like it's got, you know, bits installed to make it easier. It's climbing up a waterfall.
Yeah, and I had, like, moss on it.
Slippy moss.
So it was, like, slippery.
People were falling down.
Yeah.
Those little cute Chinese ladies had to pull me up at one point.
that was terrifying.
Knees all scraped, bleeding.
So like, that was one of the first days. So, like, for sure, like, I was making her, like, do stuff, like, even, like, trying to get a picture with the elephants. I was, like, dragging her in, and it was, like, so the whole thing, I was just, like, she's so out of her comfort zone, but I'm so proud of her. Like,
Aw.
she's really thrown herself in here. And then by the end of the holiday, like, as I've said, like, I know Megan pretty well, right? And she was just being a wee bit, like, more quiet than usual, and, like, I just knew it was, like, she'd had enough.
Yeah.
I knew it was, like, time for her to get back to Glasgow. But we had probably, like, 5 days left, so I was just kind of leaving her to, like, she was just, like, kind of doing her own thing some days, like, being a wee bit quiet, but, like, it was fine. I would check in, all good. So obviously when she started to feel unwell, I was also in my head, I was like, oh, she just needs out here.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to get home. And it was, like, one of these nights, like, the night before you got unwell, when you were profusely sweating. We all were sweating because it was so...
It was 38 degrees.
It was roasting, right? And one thing, we're very similar like this. When we feel a certain way, like, any sort of discomfort,
Yeah.
we're telling the world.
We voice it.
Yeah, we voice it. We want everyone to know. I
Yeah.
don't want to suffer alone. So I thought this was, like, an example, and I was like, oh, she's just been dramatic, isn't she? Now, I'll hold my hands up and say now, like, she wasn't. But obviously at the time I was like, she just wants home. Obviously you're in a foreign country, you
Yeah.
don't feel well, you're just like, oh, like, yuck.
Yeah.
I want home. So yeah, obviously then when I woke up, well, you guys know the story, and she's, like, being sick and all that, and I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, no. And then I was like, right, okay. And then the next morning she's, like, crying and she can't, like, move. And I'm like, right, I'll need to pack your case. Like, I'm just like, you're coming home.
Yeah, and that's what Nadine kept saying. She's like, we are getting you home. Like,
Yeah.
we got off the boat at one point, and I was like on my hands and knees crying, being sick, and I was like, I can't do it. And Nadine was like, you are.
I was
doing
like, get up, come on.
She was like, I've got your case.
I was holding her, like, her phone and everything, and, like, the girls were helping as well, obviously.
Yeah.
And she was, I would, like, turn around, she was, like, being sick in a bush, and I would be like, come on, you can do it.
And when we literally had, like, an hour left of our last flight, so 35 hours in, and Nadine came up to check on me. Bless you, got me wee iPads and all, not iPads. Not
I
tons
felt
of
really bad for
iPads. Like, eye patches. And you came up, and we'd all been separated on the flight, so I was sat myself, we all were. Nadine comes up and she was like, you okay? And I was like, not really, no. And you were like, I feel like you've died, like you've not spoke this whole time.
Uh-huh. Do you know, actually, to go back and actually answer the question, right? Not making this about me, right? But I felt like I'd lost my friend.
Yeah, you did.
Because, like, she was a shell of herself, and, like, obviously as we've gone on and on, all we do is sit and laugh and stuff, and, like, obviously fair enough, right? But, like, I was just like, even when we got home, obviously it kind of went worse, actually. But, like, I was like, oh my God, like, I was texting her and she was just texting me about one-worded answers, and I was like, oh my God, this is so lonely, you being unwell. And then when I went to visit you in hospital, I was like, what has happened?
Oh, honestly.
So, to answer the question, it does feel like a fever dream.
Yeah. God.
I'm actually more upset it happened, obviously, for you and your trauma. But I'm upset that it happened because I would have loved for us to just travel Asia one day. And I just feel like, I feel sad that it's put a sour taste in your mouth, because
Yeah.
I've been a few times and nothing like that has ever happened.
No, I know. And that is what I say when people ask me about Thailand. I'm like, don't let my experience put you off.
You had
I'm-
a very unique experience.
I'm just chronically unlucky, so don't look at me.
Yeah. But when we were home and, like, I was texting her and, like, I'm just so worried about her, and she was like, Nadine, like, she's gonna be fine, relax. And I was like, I just feel like I've lost my friends. And she was like, you're being very dramatic. And I was like, that. No, have you seen her?
No, she wasn't. You weren't being dramatic.
But yeah.
But that was Thailand and salmonella. Someone said, Have you ever liked or kissed the same boy?
No.
No. Nah.
No. Never.
Never ever.
No, I have friends who... I think my ex, he'd made his way around a few people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But no.
Not us.
Not us.
And if it's him, then there was certainly no concerns for me ever getting to there.
Yeah.
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 Someone said, who's a better laugh on a night out? We're both hilarious.
I would say you're more like silly.
Well, maybe you wouldn't do cartwheels and
No.
stuff. But it depends what your humour is. Not everyone finds the cartwheels funny.
Yeah, I'd say you're more like end up in like weird scenarios.
Yeah, I suppose. But you, like, when I talk about nights out, a lot of my stories are you.
I can't even think what I'm like.
We've just had some funny moments.
Yeah, we have had some funny
We won't
moments.
get into it, but you do some funny things.
Well,
they make for hilarious stories.
Okay, well, great.
So I would say I laugh at you on a night out all the time. Like Nadine, when she's drunk, is just like...
Yeah, I'm more... No, actually, I've been told this, so...
You're just like very...
Don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and like you're just funny. Like for example, once Nadine had been on a different night out from like our whole group. I think you were out for your work or something, and then we all went back to one of our friends' houses, and he has a camera outside, like CCTV, and we were watching Nadine on it. So she's got out the taxi and she's drunk. She's got her heels in one hand. I think he had a bottle of vodka in the other hand. She's like stumbling about. Like she obviously can't remember which house is his, even though she goes there all the time. And she's like, like going down all the different driveways. And we're all just laughing because that when you're drunk, that's just what you're like. You're like, just like a frantic, like.
Yeah, just don't know what. It's like me times 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas you're more like just doing, like, remember that time we were in hide and seek?
Oh, I was telling someone about it.
And you literally just like, see, I don't know if you've ever been in hide and seek, but it's like the booths almost.
Yeah.
She just went over the back of one and just like did like a mad flip.
So like they
onto
were
the table.
Yous were all sitting just having like a really tame conversation, like it wasn't that late in the night yet, all having your drinks, and there was like tons of drinks on the table. And then I've went round the back of the booth. It looks like I'm going to the toilet, but little did they know I was going to do a walkover onto the table. So I do a walkover and I'm wearing these big silly cowboy boots.
Oh my God.
The two cowboy boots, they're all having a conversation. Over comes my
It's
legs.
like two like fake legs.
Land on a table. Miraculously don't touch a drink.
I know.
No drinks were spilled. And
I was like, what are you doing?
you were like, stop it! You're going to get thrown out!
That's the difference. Like, well, we actually are very different in
Yeah.
so many ways, but just obviously similar in so many ways as well. But like, I will not do stupid things when I'm drunk.
No, you wouldn't. I do.
Yeah. You're like, what's the most dangerous thing I can do?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to break a bone. Right, next question. Nadine, this one's for you.
Oh.
What's the weirdest thing someone has asked you about Megan?
I can't really think of like one specific person or thing because like I feel like overall I get asked the same
Yeah.
weird thing. It's like people seem to think that I'll divulge information about you.
Yeah.
Which is so weird. No offence, guys, if you've asked, but it's like, why would I do that?
Yeah, like, why would you, as my best friend...
Yeah, people will be like, so what happened? Da da da. And I'm like,
Why would I tell you?
why am I going to tell you about my best friend's business?
Yeah.
Like, I would never, like, obviously, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, the way of thinking or anything, but I mean, even, like, anyone, I would just never ask about someone's business. I don't know if people feel maybe like they know you, so...
Yeah, that they're, like, entitled to know or whatever, which is fine, but, like, genuinely...
To a degree, maybe, like, what you bought at the shop or something,
Yeah.
but, like, maybe not, like...
But, like, personal information that I'm clearly not sharing myself, why would my best friend share it?
Yeah.
We can't, like, really tell the full story, but once, Nadine, you literally heard of this rumour.
Oh.
The crazy camera crew rumour.
Right, yeah.
And it was the most far-fetched
it
story
was
in the
just
world.
so ridiculous. Like, someone told me, they were like, oh, I forgot to tell you this, by the way, like, this got put in in like their chat or whatever, and I was like, who's made that up?
Yeah, like categorically not even one part of that happened.
Yeah, and I think now, like, if I say I like kind of know someone or like I'm in a conversation, people naturally slip things in like, oh, and I'm just like, I just always say something like really vague,
general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say that's what's weird. People doing that. Actually,
as well, one of our other friends was at her gran's funeral.
Yeah.
And someone came up. My friend is at her own gran's funeral, grieving her gran, and someone comes up and said, "What happened with Megan? Blah blah blah." And my friend's like, "Is it okay if I actually like mourn my gran today? Would that be all right?"
So weird.
Like, what? My friends are not gonna go and like spill my tea.
No.
My tea's in my cup, and it is all. My cup has been held by my friends. No one is rocking the boat.
No.
Crazy.
It is. But do you know what? People love a wee bit of gossip.
Yeah, we all love gossip. We've all dabbled in the field, I suppose. Erin has asked, would you rather eat a willy or a slug?
Thanks for that, Erin.
I'm going to go with the slug, personally. Like, if you're going to have to eat it, but that would cause serious pain to someone.
There's so many. Yeah,
I mean, it obviously depends which one, but I think the slug would probably be smaller and
yeah, okay, it's easy to get over.
Quicker process.
And it's not like cannibalism, so that's a plus. Yeah, well, thanks, Erin. Thanks for sending that in. I hope everyone's learned something from that. Hope it was useful.
A very inspiring question we've had there. So I hope everyone's...
I wish you'd sent in more.
I know, if only. Neve asked, hi Neve.
Hi Neve.
Have you ever had a drunk argument? We don't argue
for this story.
We actually don't argue. Like, I could count our arguments on one hand over 30
I think we have
years.
more like, we can be like, what's the word? Like a wee bit bickery.
Once we had this random argument when we'd been in Magaluf for 11 days. No one should ever go to Magaluf for 11 days.
Why did we do that?
What
I was also going through a breakup and I was just like, off my head.
You were a wee bit unhinged.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And basically me and Nadine, it was a huge table of us. It was a big mix of boys and girls who went to Magaluf.
So how do you remember these things?
Do you know, I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I can remember, I have long-term memory. I remember things as an infant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I remember, I'll never forget, on my 5th birthday, two people got me the same Winnie the Pooh card, and it's Winnie the Pooh floating on a balloon that says 5. I'll never forget it. Ever. Anyway, another memory is a guy ran round a van, like that, and I ran round the van as well, and his nail went in my eye, and I had a big scratch across my eye for like a year. I'll never forget the pain of that.
Oh.
Anyway, sidetracked. What was I saying? Oh, we don't argue.
No.
Very few and far between. Magaluf. So we're in this big, huge, long table. It was called like Tam something.
Tams.
Tams, this
Oh
restaurant.
my God, they had great food.
We went every day for 11 days.
That was amazing.
So this day, me and Nadine were across from each other and we said, let's share the fajitas. So we're sharing
It's
the
all
fajitas.
coming back.
And the jalapenos, there was only, like, when you get fajitas, they give you a very sparse amount of jalapenos, and I like jalapenos. So Nadine ate the last jalapeno, and I was like, can you ask for more jalapenos, like, seeing as how you ate the last one? And she's like, yeah. And then she didn't ask, and I was like, are you going to ask for those jalapenos? And you were like, give me a minute. And then we were like, this is so awkward. Then later on, we're like, can we forget about that argument? That was it. That was as far as it went.
Why do we always we do have a bicker about like eating the last thing for food. I'm like, oh, Megan will take the last bit and I'll be like, thanks for asking. And she'll be like, but you ate more. You eat faster. I'm like, thanks.
But we did, we had a really ridiculous argument in Thailand. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, categorically so
explosive but so stupid.
So ridiculous. We were staying at a hostel and it's supposed to be a party hostel, everyone's in their kip. We were the only people up. We got home from this night out and For the first time, and I will admit that, for the first time Nadine was drunker than me. I'm normally the drunker one, like, as we know, I get myself in some states.
Yeah.
So Nadine and Ailey were both drunker than me, which is really unusual.
Yeah, I was being sick and all that.
Yeah, you never do that.
No.
So we got back to the hostel, and because it was a hostel, we were sharing a room with some randoms, and Nadine and Ailey were like, we don't want to go in the room yet, like, we'll be too loud, like, we don't want to disturb the girls' sleep.
So considerate.
Yes. And I was like, fair. So we sat outside by the pool area with nobody there. It was like 2 a.m. or whatever it was. And you and Ailey went to the toilet to be sick. So then I FaceTimed Callum because the time difference, he was still up. So I just FaceTimed him whilst they were in the toilet being sick. And then I think I said to Callum, like, oh, they're so drunk.
Yeah, because basically, like, I mean, we were, like, being like just funny and silly and like laughing. We weren't actually being funny, we thought we were.
Yeah.
And basically where the pool was, there was like a really shallow bit that you could sit at, and we were going, we're gonna go in the pool, like just winding you up, and you were like, guys, getting pure stressed. You were like, I can't come into the pool to save you if you drown. And we were like, we're not gonna drown, and we just kept going on and on.
And then I had said to Callum, like, oh, they're so drunk or something, and then Nadine was like like, just was offended that I said she was really drunk, and she thought I was trying to embarrass.
Yeah, I think I hadn't met Callum yet as well, so I was a bit like, oh my god, he's gonna think I'm so annoying.
And it just grew, arms and legs were pure. I was like, Callum, I need to go. Hung up, and we're like having the most ridiculous argument in the world.
I'm like, you're trying to embarrass me, and then you were like, you were trying to embarrass me, and I was like, no, you're, and it was back and forth.
Like, none of it made any sense.
Then
and fast forward,
I'm crying.
Nadine's in my lap sobbing, and she was like, I hate when we argue. I was like, we don't argue. Like, you might hate this, but this doesn't ever happen.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm just so upset this has happened, and you were pure like comforting me, being like, we've been away for 2 weeks, like, it was just normal that something was going to happen.
So that is literally our only drunk argument.
Yeah.
We don't argue, which is great.
No.
Well, someone has actually asked, what do you think of my career?
Okay.
Take it away, sister.
Okay. What do I think of Megan's career? I think definitely when we were in school, like, you were going more towards something, like you were trying music and drama, and like you wanted to do something creative, but like you weren't good at those things.
No.
So like, and like you've always been like a natural performer, but like not a specific skill.
No talent.
No talent. Yeah, sorry. I'm not saying she's talentless, like, obviously, like, hello. But I think, obviously, in school, you can't really identify this. And then I think, yeah, just, like, obviously, things evolving, like, it would make no sense for you to do anything else.
Yeah.
And I think, like, even, for example, me having you, like, kind of present at my event, that's just, like, I just know that, like, you're so naturally good at that.
Aww.
And, like, you just, obviously, you have the gift of the gab. You're good at telling stories, funny, likeable, so I think, like...
My head!
So, I do just think, I'm so impressed with your career.
Thank you.
I think it's so cool. I think, like, the fact we're even sitting here in a podcast, like, just talking, like, it's just so bizarre. I'm certainly used to it.
Yeah.
Like, now, like, anything that you do, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I'm not, obviously I still get shocked at, like, obviously big opportunities, but like, I just feel like it was meant to be.
Aww.
So yeah, I love it for you.
Thank you. That was a really nice answer. Let's finish on this question.
Okay.
Do you feel supported by each other?
Absolutely.
Couldn't feel more supported if I tried.
Yeah. I think, like I said earlier, I just could depend on you for literally anything.
Yeah. Same.
I do feel supported. I think, like, we definitely have different stages in life.
Yeah.
And I think there's been times where you didn't know what you were doing with your career.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't know what I was doing with my career. Even like with like boys, with like navigating life, being in your 20s, I think we can always reach out.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, like, just I feel like we support each other, like, we are each other's safety net.
Yes, it is
like,
a safety net.
And as well, like, anything, like, whenever anything happens, like, we would literally drop everything to be there for each other, and like, that's just how we roll.
It is. And I think that is the key to friendship.
Yeah. Like, obviously that can be hard at times.
Yeah, and you can't give someone in any relationship, you can't give someone 100% all the time. Like, for example, like if you've got a busy week, like
Yeah.
I'm not expecting you to like check up on me every day,
Yeah.
or whatever. But like it's just something that you have to nourish
Yeah,
and work on.
literally. And yeah, we're just two happy gals being
Yep.
friends. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've really enjoyed recording this episode.
Me too. I was a wee bit nervous, guys, but I feel like
You're an absolute natural.
thanks.
And it was fun to record. And what lovely memories having my best friend.
Yeah.
In a wee podcast studio. Actually, it was Nadine who told me to make a YouTube channel all those years ago. Nadine and
It was
Erin.
me and Erin, we said you should do that, and the next
Yeah.
thing I know, so you're welcome. You're welcome, guys.
So it's a real full circle moment.
It is.
It really is.
really is.
And this is just the beginning of our 13-year friendship. It's going to
Yeah.
be lifelong.
Yep.
Now, something I'd really, not to get all morbid, but I'm just like, God, I really hope.
The first person.
Yeah,
Oh,
the first
God.
one to go. God, that's going to be absolutely tragic.
That's kind of a sad way to leave the podcast, guys, but
But on a happier note, we have both agreed that at our weddings, very
Yeah.
far in the future, we'll both be doing a speech. And that's
Yeah.
not the norm, which I don't like. Why is it all just men that speak at weddings?
doesn't make sense.
The groom, the best man, and the dad.
Yeah.
Where the hell are the women in here?
Yeah, so if you like this episode, wait for the maid of honour speeches.
Oh my God, we're gonna I've already started writing mine.
Oh my God, I actually wrote something down in my notes, like maybe it was like 6 months ago, a year ago, and I was like, oh, that's amazing.
Well,
I need to say that.
it will be works of art.
Yeah.
But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks so much, Nadine, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Remember, you can watch full-length videos on YouTube if you're not already. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, give me a wee follow on Instagram and TikTok at Rollercoaster
Like,
Podcast.
follow, subscribe, comment. Only comment nice things though.
Yeah, or else Nadine will get you. Thanks so much for watching or listening.
Bye.
We love you.
Oh, sorry.
Bye.
Bye.
Toodaloo. Bye, darling.
Toodaloo.
I'm not gonna wake up